already serve our country, you serve humanity. I
Uh,
don't know where that strength stay coming from that you want to push forward.
it is still, in fact, for me, age is just a number.
Okay.
Functionally, by age, I'm 66, going 67.
Okay.
But functionally, I feel like I'm 30 years old.
Hmm.
Because I do 80 push-ups in the morning, sometimes 100.
At 68, you still do
I
80
can
push-up?
do 80 push-ups for you right now.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I do sit up. In fact, I'm a coach in Marshall for middle-aged men and women every Saturday and Sunday. We do that, and that keeps me going. That's why I can go to southeastern Liberia and go to 6 counties without feeling sick. And the young people with me getting sick while we are on a trip because I exercise every day.
So I think one of those that believe that it doesn't matter.
No. Age does not matter. Drink enough water, eat well, and exercise. So, and I have to be thankful to God that at 66, except when the government, when Taylor government, I was put in jail in 2002, April. I have not spent a night in a hospital in my lifetime for any illness. So good health is wealth, and I'm thankful to God. I may not have money in my pocket, but I'm wealthy because I'm not spending money on hospitals.
Okay.
And that's because I've been exercising my whole life, drinking well, and eating moderately. I cannot finish a whole plate of rice. So, one cooked spoon rice is good for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So it's good for people to learn these kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, let's come to why we are here today. This issue about you wanting to be president, where have it come from?
I have a lot of noble people pictures with their quotations in my office. One of them is Albert Einstein, the great scientist. He said, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but he said, by those who watch them without doing anything. So, by that, he was saying, the people who do evil might be doing it out of ignorance. They are not the worst people. But you who know better, that can change the situation, and you sit by and look, you are the worst person as far as society is concerned. I see my country virtually being put in ICU, in terms of governance. High level of poor governance during this period. And I know it could be better than it is, that a better Liberia is possible. That's why I've come in to step in. I strongly believe Liberians made a mistake in 2017. You cannot take your brand new Mercedes Benz, and even if all the mechanics are not doing well,
made a mistake
you have to carry it to another mechanic, but you don't give it to a carpenter to fix.
Okay.
The president of Liberia at the time of the election had no experience, very little experience. If you count just 3 years in the Senate and a short time as peace ambassador. Governance in this country has been so challenging. It was challenging for Tubman, it was challenging for Talbot, it was challenging for Charles, for Doe, it was challenging. Well, Doe didn't go far in school at the time that he became. So it was challenging for Charles Taylor, it was challenging for even Amos Sawyer, it was challenging for President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, because at the end of her regime, for example, she said, look, corruption became, what's the name she used? Like a monster, but she used a particular, that she couldn't fight corruption. She could not reconcile the country. So she mentioned that. Not that she didn't make effort, but governance is challenging. So when you want to give the head of the government to someone, that person has to be better than those who have felt the challenge, of bringing about good governance, although they have tried.
Okay.
So, and that's where we are. When you don't know something, your best effort can produce the worst result.
Okay. Well,
so that's why
when you go to the hospital, the doctor's talking about taking you to the ICU. It means that your case is very critical.
It
between
is
life and death.
It is.
And you're talking about Liberia.
It is.
Found itself in the ICU. Are we bad to that extent?
Very bad. And let me tell you,
Mm.
I usually tell young people that Liberia is not naturally poor. We are poor by choice, because the soil that we have is among the richest soil you can find anywhere in Liberia, in Africa. The plum right outside your office here, you throw somebody ate the plum and threw the seed and just grew by itself. Doesn't happen in many places in the world. Rich soil, fertile soil. Nobody uses fertilizer around for all the gardens that are around.
Okay.
Then under the soil, we have gold, we have diamond, we have iron ore, we have uranium, we have so many resources. So anybody analyzing the natural capacity of the countries of the world cannot place Liberia in the category of the poorest countries of the world. But functionally, we are poor. And we don't blame our leadership for that. We blame ourselves because on election day, we don't look for the competent people. We vote for bags of rice, we vote for money, we vote for liquor. And then the result is our resources are not well managed. Majority of us then live a life of poverty by choice. That's why I said Liberia is a rich country, but we Liberians are poor by choice because of the way we vote in elections day.
And you think it was a complete mistake when they elected Mr. Weah in 2017?
Complete.
But some like Liberians celebrating for the constitutional rules, celebrating for payment of wax fees, the augury works at the Rabos International Airport, and so many of them.
Okay, so let me tell you, I have a critical mind, but it's based, I'm reasonable, and it's based on observation. Now, compare President Sirleaf, whom I disagree with a lot, first term. She repaved all the roads in the streets of Monrovia, Broad Street, and all the streets. She paved the road from Totota, in fact, from Coca-Cola factory all the way to the Guinean border. She paved the road to Grand Bassa, and that is what encouraged Liberians to vote for her for second term, because of the monumental infrastructure work that was done. It was under administration that the GLB hospital was completed and dedicated, a big regional hospital that is interpreted for southeastern Liberia, for that region. But let me tell you why, when you talk about paved roads around Monrovia, in Maserado here largely, the people of southeastern Liberia, the area that the president and a lot of government officials of this country come from, is in a desperate state. Look, it is still dry season, or just turning rainy season. But 2 weeks ago, I was in southeastern Liberia, and I saw vehicles stuck between a place called Gwenta and Zaita. The people of Grand Judea and the people along that road will know there were so many trucks there. The 3 vehicles I carried had to pass a side road on the bank of the road, and the collapse. All the passengers got out from the car, and the 3 drivers managed to cross the vehicles. That was not all. When I was going to Babylon Town, up the main road in Grand Judea, it was again challenging. In fact, one of the cars remained in Babylon Town because it was damaged. And I carried a mechanic along with me on the road. That's how the car was fixed. The worst experience was between Kilipo Kanwieken and Brepo Kanwieken. Those who know that part of Liberia, from Kilipo Kanwieken to Brepo Kanwieken, normally, when the road is good, it is 20 to 30 minutes. So I finished my event talking to the people in Kilipo Weekend, and at the home of the late Justice Minister Cheru and the former dean of the law school, Dean Warner. We had a good time in our town, and I sent a motorcyclist ahead and said, "Look, tell the people in Kilipo Weekend I'll be there 6 o'clock." Here is the bad news. I did not reach Kilipo Weekend a distance of 30 minutes until 1 a.m. the next morning. Everybody had gone to bed. Why? Because when we got to the mud and I took off my shoes and rolled up my trousers and crossed the mud around 5:30 going to 6 o'clock and I stayed across the mud until 9 o'clock. I usually go to bed 9 o'clock in Monrovia. So by 9:30 I was so sleepy. I picked leaves and put them on the ground and started sleeping. It was by 12:30 that this young man standing in the studio came and woke me up. "Daddy, the 3 cars have crossed the mud 12:30 in the morning, next morning, when I should have been at 6 o'clock." And then I told him there was a sick lady, very ill, in one of the cars I was talking about, a pickup that came from Monrovia that was so loaded.
Okay.
So I said, well, let it, the Toyota Land Cruiser Jeep, hold that car before we can leave. It is the hauling of that pickup that was so loaded for the mud that spoiled my four-wheel Jeep. And the four-wheel is still being worked on. I spent over $1,000. So that place is so terrible. When I was lying there waiting for the car to cross, two things crossed my mind. I said, so bad road can honor my peace and security. Assuming that Africans attack us today, the troops coming from Monrovia, how do they cross this mud? We'll be defeated right here. Assuming that since there's a better clinic in Kilipo Weekend, somebody is sick in Kilipo Weekend, and the ambulance come running with that person to go to Kilipo Weekend, that person will die right here, at the mud. So personal safety is affected. Then, assuming that you are a good farmer and you have your farm somewhere in Webo, and you plant your planting farm, you harvest your planting, you want to bring a truckload of planting to Monrovia to sell and get a good price, you borrow money from a shop owner in Webo and say, I will pay your money next week. I want to charter a truck and carry my planting to Monrovia. You will get stuck in Webo Weekend at the mud, and your planting will get ripe and rotting, and you will come back and you will have to pay that person's money back that you borrow. You might pay might give all your savings, and if it is not enough, you might end up selling some of your properties to pay that money. Then you have become poorer. So bad will undermines peace and security. It also multiplies poverty because of this scenario that I've given. So that is the situation straight from Tapeta. When you leave Tapeta before you cross the town called Bloodiala, you are in a mud already.
But I think it's challenging areas in the issue of construction. What are some of the positive things?
So here is my plan.
No, you will get to your plan.
I want to talk about they shouldn't get to that situation. Because I don't know why sometimes governments like to ignore good things that were done in the past. In the past, in 1979, I took taxi from Harper City as a student leader, and by 9 p.m. I was in Monrovia. Why? Because under President Talbot, under President Doe, there were public work yards in the counties, and they were full. They had yellow machines, and the yellow machines were used during the dry season to rehabilitate the roads and make them ready for the rainy season. And I left Kipamos in July 1979 in the height of the rainy season and reached Monrovia in less than 24 hours. Why can't the government restore the public work yards? When I become president, I will restore the public work yards in all of the countries because it worked in the past. It's going to take 50 years for the Liberian government to actually connect.
Perhaps you just saying it because you want to convince electrics. Where are you going to get the money from?
Everything I've done in the past, everything I've said in the past, when I entered government, I did. I said that prosecution did not have competent people. The county attorneys in all the counties were not law school graduates. When I entered as Solicitor General, the only county attorney that graduated from law school was the one in Monrovia. But before, in 2 years, I replaced all of the non-law school graduates with all law school graduates. I left that legacy. Today, all of the county attorneys in Liberia from 1847 until 2006, they were not law school graduates. Now they are all law school graduates. That's big transformation in the area of prosecution. I raised the work permit fee at Ministry of Labor from $400 to $1,000 US. And once I did it for Liberians to get jobs, once I did it, some employers who were employing 50 employees, foreign employees, drop it to 20 and give the jobs to Liberians. I take responsibility for all the young ladies you see as cashiers in the supermarkets in Monrovia. When you visit the supermarket, before that time, it were Lebanese and Indians. But when I issued regulation number 17, raising the work permit fees that I intended to raise if I remain at Ministry of Labor, by adding another $250 to every year until we substantially reduce the number of foreign employees, the Liberians started getting jobs. But these are things I said before coming to those offices. So when I say something, that's something I've thought about and can be done.
So what are your plans for road connectivity? Thank God you have traveled most of the roads. You are seeing the way along. How do you intend to fix it?
That's what I'm saying. We are going to put public work yards in all of the countries and put yellow machines there to maintain the roads. And now, we used to have Ministry of Road Development that used to do the farm to market road. Under President Salif, Ministry of Road Development was added to Ministry of Public Works. So Public Works is actually Public Works and Road Development now. So we'll put, public work yards in all of the countries, or even create 4 big hubs for road maintenance and road building. And the machines from there will be used to build farm to market roads and also maintain them so that goods can come from the farm to the cities easily for our people to earn money. Because when the roads are bad, it promotes poverty, just as the example that I gave. That is my plan for road connectivity. The paving will be going on gradually. But, like I'm saying, on the top and do, the roads were not paved. The only thing we suffer was dust. But people are moving freely. People could come from Tapeta to Monroe in 5 hours. We'll do that as government continues to pave. Even in America, I lived there for some time. Now all the roads are paved, right? Even in Europe, not all of the roads are paved, but they are maintained.
Okay.
And we need to do that.
Will you give this region credit
for
roads?
They haven't done as much as Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did in road building.
You think so?
They haven't.
But
they
have boasted of building more roads in 6 years than former Unity Party government was served for 12 years.
They didn't say that. You are misquoting them.
No, that's what they have said.
No, they have said. No, listen to me. They misquoting
you want me to name some of the
let me tell you.
Okay.
They have said better than what you said.
Okay, all right.
They have said in even 2020 annual report, 2021 annual report, 2022 annual report, 2023 annual report, that President Weah has built more roads in Liberia than all of the presidents combined from J.J. Roberts and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So they have said better than what you said.
Okay.
And I am saying that is a bold-faced lie.
That any have been more roads.
No, that do.
Okay.
I mean, that
you don't want to take it from United Party government.
That we have built more roads. No. This is what was said.
Okay.
That we have built more roads than from J.J. Roberts to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Okay.
And I said that is not true. If you look at the road that Topma alone built, I don't agree with policy, with politics, but in terms of infrastructural development, you got to give it to Topma. He built the road through the forest from Carisburg to Cape Palmas.
Okay.
In his first 5 years.
Okay.
So that alone beats the record of President George Weah. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf were first Talbot built the road paved the road from Totota to Ganta. That alone, the mileage, beats the record of President George Weah. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, in her first 5 years, first 6 years, built the road from Coca-Cola factory to Guinea border in Ganta, and built the road to Grand Bassa, which she used to convince the Liberian people that she deserved a second term. The record that President George Weah has set in terms of infrastructure development over all of the leaders of Liberia, from J.J. Roberts to Ellen Sirleaf, is that he has built more private buildings for himself than all of those presidents combined.
Wow. Now, you were quick enough to point out rules made by previous government. What's about this government? What have you seen?
They did the dual community, and then they have done some community roads on Robertsfield Highway, on roads that lead to Big Shot's house. The president told the President Pro Tem house.
Roads that lead to Big Shot house.
President Pro Tem house.
What's about the RI ongoing construction work?
Yeah, it's ongoing. That is ongoing. But let's look at the road from ELW Junction to I think it's Coca-Cola factory to connect to that pipeline road.
Yeah, the Johnsonville road.
It has taken so many years. So, and that stretch of the road is shorter than the road from ELW Junction to RIA. So it's good they have started, but that's work in progress. You don't praise work in progress. We praise completed work. We laud the effort, because that issue of 4-lane road was being talked about under Ellen. They've started, but let's wait, because why do I say so? I'm informed by what is happening on the Ganta-Cllr Road.
Yeah,
the Ganta-Cllr Road started. Everyone was happy about it. For more than 2 months, nothing is happening on that road. And the company has packed all its things, unless they brought it yesterday, because I just on that road recently. They say the government owes them $13 million. That's what I heard, unconfirmed report in Ganta. And so the Chinese packed all their things because government has not paid them. So I don't know what is going to happen on the Robertsfield Road. So I cannot say much. We hope that the Robertsfield Road can be done fast, because some of us live on that road and it's a hazard.
You say you're going to open public work offices in all of the country. What can you do in 6 years before we go to health, the economy, security? What can you do in 6 years in terms of road connectivity? Once we are given a chance by Liberians, talk.
The first thing we do, even before we put the public work yards everywhere, we need to put 10 to 15 yellow machines on the road between Ganta and Fishtown to keep the roads open.
Okay.
Because as an international highway, it goes to Ivory Coast, right? So we need to do that while government is gradually paving the road, because they say it takes $1 million US to pave 1 mile of a road. It's expensive, but it's cheaper to grade the road and lay the gutters. So we'll maintain the road. We'll put another 5 to 10, maybe 5 to 10 caterpillars on the road between Banga and Foya, so that the road is open, because there's another international highway that goes to Sierra Leone and Guinea. And then we put at least 5 caterpillars on the Bapulu Road to keep it. These are the challenging roads in the country.
It seems to be you have captured road connectivity as a major priority.
It is necessary. The country cannot develop without it. You can look at the Jackson Dole Regional Hospital that government built that has so many experts and should be accessible to people from Grand Crew to Grand Jide to come there when their hospitals can't make it. They can't get to it for 6 months of the year during the rainy season. They can't get to it. So it affects, their personal health and security. Then agriculture, I was telling you, giving an example, if you spend all your time planting or sweet potato and then you want to get to the market, roads will make you poor, even though you have the capacity to be rich. So they're very important.
Before we go to agriculture, were you are you one of the politicians who will hold this government responsible for all of the problems in terms of road connectivity?
Yes, I would. Why? Yes, I would. Why? Because it was the premise. You had a very attractive. This government had a very attractive slogan: "Change for hope." Change for hope. We are going to change what is happening now to give you hope. But what I've observed under this government is the reality shows hopelessness and despair that has been created.
Yet, Liberians are celebrating what he returned as hopelessness.
Some Liberians, you will always find, today in Germany, there are new Nazis who believe that Hitler was the best man.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in a population, you always find that. If, like some people say, if President Taylor were to come back now and run for presidency, he will be a problem for a lot of politicians, right? Because there are some people who believe he was the best. So every leader has a following, and there's a captive population in politics. There are some people who just believe, irrespective of what happens. All right. So, and we sing song in Liberia, you came out my, you came out by, you know, bo, you not know bo, any of those things, which means that reality does not matter for some voters. So I don't have a problem with some people saying he's the best. That's how they feel. But even the lovers of football don't feel he's the best. This is the only football hero that is president in any part of the world. Nobody in the world beat his record when he was playing football. And I heard young people saying when we becomes president, Ronaldo, Messi, all these people come to play here. The leading European football teams might come to play here for them to see them. The reality under his administration is that hope changed to hopelessness and despair because under his regime, the football playing pitch was declared unfit for playing international football. While he was president,
I think he made it. Now major renovation was over. We just play.
You came to change things. I am saying from 2018, it took a long time. That was one of the things that should have happened in 2018. That is his area.
I don't think it should be an issue now because the permission that they gave, we just play an international match there. Though we went down to South Africa.
We're talking about record. I'm saying this is what happened. He has corrected it.
Okay.
But it took, when you fail and they give you a makeup test, it doesn't mean you didn't fail. You passed the makeup test, but you still fail. And then under his regime as football hero, Guinea went to the last year African Cup of Nations. Sierra Leone won. Ivory Coast had gone there many times. But even Gambia, that small country, went to quarterfinal. The only country in the Manoroyo region that did not make it, that did not qualify for the African Cup is called Liberia. The one headed by football hero. So my question is, if a man cannot excel in his area of expertise, do we expect him to excel in the area of health, education, road connectivity, and everything that we need, even rule of law and all of that? I say no.
Okay. What are your plans for our culture in our country? One of the lawmakers, when I was a representative, Representative Dixon Sibo is proposing 50 million United States dollars so we can grow our own food. Old as we are still depending on other countries for our stable food. What are your plans?
I don't know his plans, his suggestions, is not a good messenger.
Hmm.
What he's saying sounds good, but it is for electoral purposes.
Okay, on your watch. What are your plans?
Because he took $30,000. 2 years now, he had taken $30,000, and he had not done anything with it. With the 30,000 each year in his district.
Who told you that? You are not there.
I listen to people. I talk to. Let any caller call from a district and say the $60,000 that he received, he had done things with it in his district on this radio. Those who are listening.
Okay, let
me tell you what I'm going to do.
Yes. Liberia. Let's talk Liberia.
In my 10-point agenda for better Liberia.
Okay. Oh, you got 10-point agenda.
Agenda for better Liberia.
Okay.
One of the things I have there is that we will mechanize rice farming. I'm not just talking about agriculture. You know, we've been trying with cocoa, coffee, oil palm. I want to talk about what we eat.
Okay.
Because the way you and I are sitting here, somebody bring us yam gravy with fish and cow meat and everything to all eat. We drink mineral water, our stomach full. 6 o'clock this evening, when they ask two of us, Cllr Gongloe, you and what's your name again?
Winston.
You and Winston, have you eaten today? Both of us will say no.
I'm not going to say no.
Hey,
maybe I'm a different Liberian.
Well, maybe you're different from me. I would say no. I ate yam the morning, but I'm not eating
rice.
Because generally, when Liberians don't eat rice, they are not eating. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mechanize rice farming. My goal is to change Liberia's story from being a rice importer to being a rice exporter. You know, and I have a program for government to buy rice producing machines distributed among the rice farmers through the farmers cooperatives in the 15 counties to grow rice. It is only through machines that you can grow rice from a cocoa or Cllr rubber company or Cavara rubber or even Firestone. The work that 1,000 people can do in 1 week, machine can do in 1 day. In Liberia, we are still using cutlasses and hoe to make rice farm.
Okay.
We have to change the mode of production. If we change the mode of production, we increase the yield, that we get, and the population is small. If people in the 15 counties are making large farms of rice, then it will be so much for the 5 million people, a little over 5 million people. More than that, I'm going to do something more revolutionary in rice production. We have the army. Since 1908, when the Frontier Force was created and that later on became the AFL, from LNTG to AFL, we have not fought any war. And I know in the next 1,000 years, we'll not fight Sierra Leone, we'll not fight Africa, we'll not fight Guinea, because they are brothers and sisters across the river. But we are paying the military salary every month. We are buying them guns to fight. We are buying them uniform. So my war, under my regime, I will declare war against hunger and order the chief of staff to take his men and women to war by producing not less than 100 acres of rice in each of the 15 counties using rice producing machines. That would be the new weapons of war.
But you and I know the military trained, prepared to defend our country, not to play rice.
The military is trained to defend us against our insecurity. We do not have any threat from any foreign army. The threat of destruction of Liberia now is our food insecurity.
Okay.
So I'm going to use the army to defeat hunger so that we don't have that security anymore.
So as commanding general, that's what you're going to do.
Commanding in chief.
Commanding chief.
General, don't carry with the rank lower.
Commanding
in chief. Commanding in chief. Because we use the engineering battalion of the AFL and the agricultural battalion of the AFL to lead the rest of the soldiers to war against hunger. They'll be doing their routine duty. If by accident they will do the infantry training and all of that. If by accident by somebody attacks or they'll be ready for war. They will still be doing their peacekeeping duties. Because through the peacekeeping duty, when our soldiers go, at least they get better money. Those who go to peacekeeping duties get, and when they come back, they build their houses and all that. And we have an obligation moral obligation to the world because we are benefited from peacekeeping by other people's soldiers. So we need to make our own contribution. That's good, but it will not be. Farming is a seasonal work, so there will be times when it will be free.
Before you give to others, I mean, you got sufficient at home for you and your family, but you're talking about exporting as well.
I strongly believe if India, that has a population of over 1 billion, can produce rice, eat rice, and export rice to Liberia,
that's not a stable food. This one is our stable food.
Let me tell you, Indians, rice is a staple food in India. They eat rice, they make some into noodles, and other things, and they eat it through that. But that's rice still, all right? So, and they produce rice and export the balance to us. You see the insecurity we're having. Most of the rice you see now is made in India. What if some kind of pestilence like Ebola hits India today? What if there's war in India closes its port? We Liberians will be walking the street and falling dead because we're dependent on rice from India. So, with our small population, we can produce rice and export. I've been to Egypt and I ate Egyptian rice. Egypt is largely a desert country, but they produce rice in the Nile Delta and they export rice to the Middle East. It is a shame, for example, in Liberia, that a lot of grapes and tangerine and other fruits that we buy from the supermarket are coming from Morocco, a desert country. They're having difficulty. They have to water the place. They have to do all kinds of things. In Liberia, things can grow by themselves. So if the government just assists the farmers a little bit, we'll overproduce and we'll sell rice abroad. With whole and cutlasses in the past, in the 1800s, by history, according to history, we used to export rice. But at that time, nobody would go to school. Everybody were in the interior. All the young people were in the interior. There were no companies. There were no, like rubber company, iron ore mining company, gold company. Nobody would go. Everybody were in the town. So all the young people, we had enough labor to make rice farm. The labor has come to the urban centers now. You got older people in the interior. We need, therefore, to change the mode of production from labor to machines, and we'll increase our yield, and we'll be a rice exporter. We'll have enough. I see us generating $500 to $600 million revenue for rice, rather than us spending $200 million as a nation to import rice. We'll change the story. It is possible.
Wonderful plan. According to this, it is possible. Challenging health set of our country.
So let's
what
difference
can you make?
Thank you. You're a good interview. You're going to this. Today, according to Ministry of Health report and WHO report, Liberia is among the 10 countries in the world that record the highest rate of death among pregnant women, maternal mortality rate. For a small country like this, is a disaster. It's a matter of urgency that will change that situation. We are also among the countries that report very high death among children below the age of 5, infant mortality rate. We are among the countries, also a lot of old people in this country die because they don't have money to go to the hospital. They don't have social security because they have not worked before. Majority of old people have not worked. So my health plan is to first to put the 15% of the budget in the, to put 15% of our budget on health, as was agreed among African leaders, right? So that, and I was under my regime, pregnant women, children under the age of 5, all Liberians from 65 years or up will not spend 1 cent to go to government hospitals and clinics. They will not pay 1 cent to go to government hospitals and clinics. And then under my regime, my plan is to make government hospitals and clinics number 1, better than private hospitals and clinics. This is how I would do it. As president, I will get up in the morning and fly to J.J. Dawson Hospital in Cape Palmas without notice to the superintendent, and I go for medical checkup. Before I go there, I will ask the Minister of Finance, has the money meant for J.J. Dawson Hospital been dispersed? Oh, Mr. President, 2 months ago. So I go there and say, I want full checkup. And they tell me, oh, we don't have pressure machine. We don't have a microscope to check your urine and stool and all that. We don't have this, we don't have that. Mr. President, we don't have this. Mr. President, we don't. I say, where's the health hospital? I will dismiss you and turn you over to the police for investigation. Because I know that these things were supposed to be there.
Yeah, but
So
it also have a concern of how much did you give them? Perhaps
So-
it would just be a disservice
So
to that individual that you will be dismissing. How much?
there will be budget for microscope, for medicine, for everything. And I get to the hospital and I want full medical checkup. And you tell me, Mr. President, we do not have the capacity to give you full medical checkup. It means you don't have the capacity to give full medical checkup to any Liberian citizen. Because if the clinic lacks capacity for the president, in my view, then it lacks capacity for any citizen and all citizens. Because I'm not president for myself. I'm president for the citizens of Liberia. Next day, I'll go to Bogaza in Lufa for medical checkup. Another day, I will go to Owadasa. Another day, I'll go to Sister City. And when 10 heads of hospitals and clinics, government-run hospitals and clinics, are being prosecuted, they lost their job and have been prosecuted for mismanagement of their clinics and hospitals, then JFK Monrovia, that is named just for killing, because when you go there, they tell
you also believe that name?
I believe that.
Why would you want to do so?
Let me tell you, since 2010, I've not been to JFK.
Wow.
Because I went to JFK, and the young lady had a phone in her ear, and she brought the file and said, let's go to the doctor. And she gave the doctor somebody's result. And I was giving wrong medicine. I nearly died. I was taking medicine, some antibiotic that I should not have taken. And it was SOS that saved my life 2010. Since that time, I've not gone to JFK. And when you go to JFK, so that my personal experience, when you go to JFK, they give you prescription. Go to Lucky Pharmacy across the road. What happened to the government's pharmacy? I know JFK has a pharmacy, and I know in the 70s, 80s, they were functioning. JFK, when it was constructed in the 60s, was the best in West Africa. It can be restored. It can be restored. If you can't find medicine in JFK, you don't expect it to find it in Koba City in Kolahun. You don't expect it to find it in Plebo. You don't expect to find it in Belwan, Grand Cru, or Sastan, even the president's home, Grand Cru. So, by me as president going to government hospitals and clinics, I will improve the services there. Because when people face the consequences for not making the clinic and hospital to work for the people, then no medicine will disappear from the hospital and the equipment will be there. Gradually, the government hospitals and clinics will then be better. Because when the president is going there, the ministers will go there, the officials in the 3 branches of government will go there, and we collectively will then drive up the services, and it will become so good that nobody will be taking plane to go to Ghana. It is a moral obligation, it's a national obligation. We need to do that. Then we can now say, yeah, Liberia is the first independent country in Africa. Okay. Because we are providing things for our citizens.
What's about plans for health workers?
And in my plan, what I intend to do when I become president, we are going to think about reducing the salaries of the politicians, right? And then increase the salaries of the civil servants, health workers, police officers, and teachers. These 4 categories of employees are the people who work every day. They work every day. And when you see the salary gap, when you get to know some of them, between the health workers or civil servants and the politicians, In some cases, it takes 7 years for a civil servant to make 1 month's salary of some people in the government like Liberia. That is unfair. That is why one of the things I want to do when I become president is to put the salary of the president and his benefits on the internet, and put the salary and benefits of all the officials of the government, the 3 branches of government, on the internet.
But don't we have it now?
We have it now.
Is the salary of the president unknown?
I don't know.
Minister of government unknown?
I don't know. I don't know. As much as I feel educated, I don't know the salary of the president and his benefits. I don't know the salary.
But the budget is there. The budget is online.
They don't. Okay, so what? You know the salary of the president?
No, I'm asking you. You don't have to ask me a question. I should be asking you all of the questions.
So you see, when they will say, for example, in the office of the president pro tem or speaker, they will put a big budget and say the elected official. They don't say speaker. They don't put the salary.
The office of the speaker there, the office of the president there.
So they just put it that way. Well, we want to make it clearer.
Okay.
President's salary and benefit.
Okay.
100,000, whatever, or 50,000 is there.
How much do you prepare to receive as president of this country? How much will you want to receive money?
$5,000 already for me. Not more than 5,000.
We heard that from Dillon.
Not more than 5,000.
We heard that from Dillon.
I'm saying Dillon is one person. I have a record.
If ever see 5,000, you are projecting. That's why we have a Dillon 5,000.
I've said to you that what I say I've done in the past, and I challenge anyone to say that in my confirmation hearing to be Solicitor General, I said something that I didn't do. In my confirmation hearing to be Minister of Labor, I said something that I didn't do. In campaigning to be President of the Bar, I said something. I want people to say something. All right? So, most things I say, I do. All right? So, that has been my track. I'm 66, going 67, man. So, I have developed pretty much what I should be. Like my speaker about anti-corruption, I said, in 1992, I was young, I had a great experience with President. So, small boy like me at that time, 33 years old, he was going to Libya to see Gaddafi and sent me a special envoy to see President Joseph Momo of Sierra Leone and to see President Conte of Guinea. And they gave me $4,500 to Asperdam for 20 days. I spent 10 days, I came back. The balance of $2,250 for the 10 days, I went to Minister Francis Kappa. He stayed alive. As a minister, I've returned, so I'm returning government money because I didn't spend the other 10 days. He said, well, that you're paid down now, as a minister, it's okay. So he gave me receipt, and to his credit, the next day, he deposited that money back into the National Bank, Central Bank, was then National Bank, and sent the deposit slip to me. So, things I said before I've done, I will do again. I think through this, what I'm saying, I've talked to experts, and it's doable. $5,000 in a country that you receive every month, even 4,000 I can live with. I'm saying
as president.
Yeah, I'm saying I will not.
You would just want a $5,000 Monday.
Even lower than that, even 4,000. How much does a man really need to live? My children are grown.
Talk about the surroundings.
Yeah,
you're gonna have some friends coming around. You have to live as president.
I have.
Expected to ride the best vehicles, protected ones. Security guys. Your domestic affairs. You just live there.
I will live within the scope of my income, and I will be a president first term as if it is my last term. So I'm not going to be doing things, going beyond that will put me within the scope of corruption that will make me do something. I will live within my income. I'm an economist by training. All right?
Okay.
That's my first degree. I taught it at the University of Liberia from 1982 to 1990. Right. So if I become president, Liberians will have a well-trained president in the two fields that are important for good governance: economics and law.
Okay, let's talk about the economy of our country. What kind of budget will you Liberians can expect on a Tiawan Gongloe presidency, and what kind of economy do we expect to have on you?
I will not talk about the budget. I'm not going to speculate and say some people will say,
why you're the one to control budget? Why won't you talk about it?
Budget depends on the expected revenue and the expected expenditure, right? Okay, right now the government is talking about $700+ million budget. That doesn't mean that the money is there.
Yeah.
It means government intends to raise that amount of money, and then government intends to make certain amount of expenditure. I am not going to talk about 2 billion, 3 billion, all of that. I'm not going to create public expectation in that direction. What I can tell you is what I'm going to do to stimulate the economy, to expand the revenue base. And this is what I'm going to do. I will give tax incentive to every value addition company. That means a factory that is established 50 miles away from Monrovia. And when you're 100 miles away from Monrovia, you pay less corporate tax than the factory 50 miles away from Monrovia. When you're 150 miles, you even pay less until you reach places like Kipamos, Barclayville, Greenville. Why? First, we want to decentralize the economy, that everything does not happen in Monrovia. And two, when you do that, so let's assume the company employ 500 persons in Kipamos or in Barclayville. Even though that company is paying very low corporate tax, when the 500 employees receive money every month, even in the process of billing the factory, the carpenters and all that will be receiving income. Government will be generating income from the pay they receive, right? Call it income tax. Okay. They'll be receiving it. And when the factory is completed, they employ, say, 500 or 600 persons. Those people, from the salaries they'll be receiving, they'll be paying income tax to government. Then we have expanded the tax base of government. People will be receiving money, government will be receiving money. More than that, those people, the employees, will now, in Kipamos, for example, will now be renting apartments and rooms from house owners in the plenty empty building that I saw in Harper over a week ago. And the real estate owners now will also be paying taxes to government. There will be something that is called multiplier effect. There will be an unending multiplier effect of that type of economic policy on the local economy. And there's a social factor that is important for that type of policy. Because there's avenue for 500 young people to be employed in Kipamos. When they graduate from high school or from Topman University, they will not be running to Monrovia for the greener pasture because Monrovia is the only hub for employment now that people see. They will not be running here. They will be staying in a county to work or to seek opportunity for work. That will slow down the massive rural urban migration from Vonjama, from Kipamos, from other parts of the country. It will slow it down. In fact, there could be a reversal in the migration trend. An example is when there was a plywood company in Sinoko, in Greenville called the Van Plat. When Van Plat was in that place, a lot of people came from Monrovia and other parts of Liberia to work in Sino. And so Greenville was a bustling city. The same thing was in Harpo. I saw it. There was a sugar producing company in Harpo called Lipsuko. When Lipsuko was established, I saw a lot of Liberians from Kipamos who were in Monrovia going back. Even Honorable Winston Tubman left when you were no more permanent, he had a permanent the permanent mission in New York. He went to work for Lipsuko. My friend Alan Yancy III. Many persons went to work for Lipsuko, and a lot of young people stayed there. Harper was a boiling city, and there was a positive effect on shop owners, other business people, even the market, and all of that of that one investment. So we need to give incentive, tax incentive, to a lot of people to do that. And when you do that, because one of the crime rate is connected to that type of thing. A lot of people come to look for a job in Monrovia from far away places like Kipamos, Backleaf, and others. They come here and spend 2-3 months, no job, nowhere to sleep, they can't pay their rent. And then you just see one friend say, "Oh man, can I go somewhere so you can feel good, man? You're thinking about your problem. Let go." They go to the ghetto, he takes in drug, and then the next day he starts taking problem, he go taking drug, he gets addicted. Gradually, he becomes part of the criminal gang. They start doing armed robbery, checking bags, and doing things that has made Greater Monrovia difficult to move around at night. And that has slowed down night businesses here. The nightclubs and all these businesses used to generate a lot of income and then pay tax to government. But you don't find people don't want to operate cinemas and all that because they have a crime rate. But we have that kind of intervention, and the number of people come to Monrovia is reduced. It will also reduce the crime rate in Monrovia and make Monrovia, Ganta, and other urban areas to work better. And then it will also create better situation in interior.
Let's talk about security, the rule of law. So somebody said the man you are hosting tomorrow, I've been moving around with boom sweeping corruption. You made it clear. Former President Johnson Salif declared corruption public enemy number one. The next State of the Nation address says a vampire.
Yeah,
she gave her own.
That's the word I'm looking for.
She gave her own corruption. What do you intend?
So, rule of law will be number one. Is number one on my 10-point agenda.
People refer to you as full-man lawyer.
Yeah.
Are we going to still see the Liberians who have been abused, one whatever the rights violated, the justice on your watch as president? So, I'm going to make it difficult for human rights lawyers to have jobs. Come again?
I'm going to make it difficult for human rights lawyers to have jobs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That
okay.
Government will protect rights so much that there will not be a need to create human rights advocates and lawyers. All right? Because this human rights. Let me tell you what I did as Solicitor General. I freed Sanomo and several journalists. If you know the old Ministry of Justice, there used to be an underground jail there. And I freed Sanomo, who is probably listening to me now, God to him. I freed Sanomo from the underground jail there and many other journalists. When I got there as Solicitor General, the first thing I did was to close the underground jail and put an office there so that nobody brings someone there.
Why you did that? Why?
How can you anchor justice or injustice? The police people used to arrest people and put them in an underground jail. I told you, Sanomo, for example, a celebrated journalist, was there, and I had to fight hard to free him through the law. I would not do that, so I closed it and I told the police, your role here is to protect the Ministry of Justice and those who come here, not to arrest people here. And the arresting and all everything stopped. Also, I chose to be Solicitor General to President Salif. Do you want to make me Associate Justice? I said, no. I have seen rights abuse in this country. I want to be Solicitor General so that nobody goes to jail for speaking truth to power or speaking even falsehood to power. I say I want to protect right of freedom of expression. That's why even today I defend journalists and other people who speak truth to power in civil actions and criminal actions. I was the number one lawyer for CDC, Boba Molu and others, Jefferson Koji. Every time they put them in jail, I was there. Yeah, I was there. So that's what I've done. And when I become president, we'll make sure that the law applies to every Liberian equally. I believe in the supremacy of the law, that even as president, I should be under the law.
Let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts on the recent murder case?
I wanted to come to let me talk about the corruption issue a little bit.
Okay.
And I can come to that.
All right.
So what I'm saying that everybody will be on an ambit of law. Will not promote impunity. Nobody will be above the law. Now, Tiawan spoke about corruption. And then the military came and overthrew Tiawan and said that because of rampant corruption, and it became extremely corrupt. President Cllr said corruption would be public enemy number one. And she said it was a vampire, which means it was a monster. It became a monster under our regime. She did not have a clear prescription for fighting corruption. I have a 12-count prescription for combating corruption, which I could email to you.
Okay.
And principle among that is openness of government. That before I take office as president, I will declare my assets and publish it on the internet. And then after my oath of office, when my salary is determined, I will put my salary and benefits on the internet. I will require of every person I appoint in government to declare his or her asset, and I will publish on the internet, in the newspaper, and put on simple English.
Will you give opportunity to qualify members of your family to work in government?
No, I don't believe in nepotism. I've criticized all my life.
Is that nepotism? They are qualified. So they're schooled, well schooled.
It's not
they are Liberia.
It is not a question of qualification. Let's not go to that. The first responsibility, they are working now and they could work. The first responsibility of a family member is to protect your family member and not put a family member in harm's way. You see why it was difficult for President Cllr to deal with the issue of Robert Cllr, her son, when he could not account for $80 million or so at Dakar, because that's her son. So she just said, I take responsibility. But did she return the money? And nothing happened to him. The country suffered. There's conflict of interest there because you have a natural responsibility to protect your family. And then you have a legal obligation to protect the interests of government. Those two interests come in conflict. So we have now, the reason why it's important for everybody to know the salaries of government officials is that when you are a minister in my government, if you're looking down here and your full salary does not, your yearly salary is not even 50,000, you minister, right? And you start billing a $300,000 house here in Looking Town, people will look in a phone and say, but look at the man's salary. Where you got the money from to build $300,000 house? They will be all on your radio. Okay. On this radio, in a community radio. And then I will hear my security board bring the information and just call you. I said, is it true that you're billing $300,000? Oh, Mr. President, is not scratching your head. I dismiss you. They turn you over to the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission for investigation and prosecution. And we are prosecuted. We go to jail for 5 to 10 years. And the balance of that's not enough for me. The balance of the money that you have that is in a bank will confiscate it from you. Will confiscate all your properties that you use the corruption money to acquire, the vehicles and the houses and everything, and your family will start suffering. And I strongly believe that when 5 ministers are in jail for 10 years each and the family members are suffering, every minister in jail will be afraid to steal because it will have a chilling effect on them. And other people in government, also our government who want to come in government to steal will be afraid of my appointment because they want to come and steal. Because government is a place to serve, not to steal. So when we do that, we'll have enough money to support our educational program, the rice production program, health and road building and all of that. But more than that, it will curtail or stop the bourgeois business in the country, the hardman business. Because most of the people who kill people go to medicine. I won't be minister at all costs.
You think so?
Yes. In Kipamos in 1979, all the people who were hanged were officials of government. They were representatives, they were superintendent, they were city mayor. So they go to medicine man, and medicine man say, you bring me human being, you'll be managing director, or you'll be minister, or you bring me human being labor, you'll win the election and become senator or representative. Just because of the thing the illegal money they get, the corruption. So when you stop corruption, there will be no more incentive to kill people. So we make this place, we enhance human security by fighting corruption, cleaning government of corruption.
For 40 minutes to go, well, it seems that you are running a one-man show.
What do you mean?
You are not saying collaborating with the opposition community or even with the ruling establishment. It's like you are running a one. Why are you not seeing with the opposition?
Why you better ruling establishment? They're totally out there.
People that are collaborating.
That's the government that want to sweep out of power. So yes, some opposition people are collaborating them because they have the same values.
Why you are not seeing with the opposition community, like the Liberty Party, the Unity Party, the ANC? Why?
We are cooperating.
We can do this in 2 minutes.
We are cooperating at different levels. We signed a statement. I signed, Baka signed, several persons signed, Cummins didn't sign. And you can't say because he didn't sign, collaborating. Maybe he's collaborating in a different way. So we signed these people, saying that the census result should not be used for the electoral process this year because we felt the census was not properly done. That's collaboration on this issue. Now, we have agreed to collaborate on all electoral issues to make sure that the integrity of the electoral process is not undermined. That is collaboration. The issue of single ticket is another form of cooperation, but that is not as important as making sure that the election is free and fair.
Have you been tipped for running mate?
No.
You have not been tipped?
No. Wow. I'm not looking for that.
Okay.
I'm not looking.
Why, if you are asked?
I'm not looking for that. Look, everybody who supports me asked me to run for the presidency. Some of them do not like to see Cummins. Some of my supporters who gave me gasoline and vehicle and all that, some don't want to see Baka. They are. You see, I appeared on one radio the other day, at EFBC, and someone said Councillor Gongloe would be a good running mate to Cummins. Another call said Councillor Gongloe with Baka would be one run. It would be a good running mate. They are saying all this, and the people who are saying I'll be a good running mate to Cummins don't want to hear about being running mate to Baka. So you see the conflict revealing itself there. So since they say I'm the one that can make any ticket to me, then let them vote for me.
Okay. The very next time you are here, the very first thing you're going to talk about will be education. The very first thing.
Is what? Education?
You're playing for education system.
1 minute. I can talk about it now.
Okay, let's give it 1 minute. We'll take the calls.
No child should be left behind, and no child will be left behind under my regime. Every Liberian child from kindergarten to 12 will go to school free in this country. In every government school, their copybooks, their pencils, their pens, their textbooks, and the food they eat will be provided by government. It has happened in other countries that studied about that. We'll have free trade schools in all of the 15 countries for our young people not to be riding motorbike or digging down a hole alone, but to become mechanics, to be carpenters, to get the auto trade, so that they keep earning money until they
Will you continue the payment of wax, the wine fee, and the free tuition?
Of course.
Will you continue with that?
Of course. Look, when I went to school, I never paid wax fee.
Okay.
It's a new thing. I took 6th grade exam in Catholic school. Not government schools and government paid. I took 9th grade exam, government paid. I took 12th grade exam, government paid. This was the responsibility of past government that we say were not good. It was the responsibility of top of government, and even though government. What is this new thing of shifting this burden to the parents? No.
All right. Let's take the calls. 0777 9595 777 985 at the numbers to call. A minute or 30 seconds is go straight to the point, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Winston.
Yeah.
I think people are calling from the profit end.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Winston, I don't know the people get. So, Winston, I listen to Mr. Gongloe carefully. I think Mr. Gongloe should wait up to the second time when he says all our goals, then because you were with Manasadi when you on the brought out processing machine to make a fund to carry the lofa at the end of the police see about the Nigeria hall. Then you talking about farming. So please wait small. We listen to your topic. But
Thank
wait
you.
small after we are second time.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, straight to the point, please.
Good morning, the studio guests. Ambassador Wisdom Bloody. Is Mr. Gongloe carry the broom to your leadership this morning?
He's right there with it. If you're watching Bana TV now, he's right there with it.
Okay, when politicians come in this country, they want people to vote, but then let them lead the chicanery. He said this Malanseli government build more rules. I want to tell him no. They look here, because the reason he's saying they build more rules, the Chisma Avenue connected to Jalata, they paved the road here 2 times because I live 17th Street. Oh my, where I come from, Farmer District, that quota, they put it there 2 different times. Okay, the SKD Boulevard, they also paved that road 2 different times. So these are the roads that you're talking about. That
Okay.
Even the road from here, I can't the road from here to Bana. They are far to market route. They're not what the World Bank sent for them to build that kind of fund to market route. So Mr. Gongloe not talking true. He never mentioned the Salif government. He's talking about the past government government.
Thank you.
It's not fair to himself. That ain't be fair to us. That kind of chicanery on national radio to tell us that we must vote them. They will never change. So he did not praise the government. He will not talk any good thing about the government.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's take another person. Good morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And let me say good morning to the honorable man, the councillor Gongloe. I'm Thomas is from Local Town, Buzo Island, CKA Joe Bogapiti. I just flew to Bana FM and I listened to one of the finance songs who is presence of.
Sir, will you go straight to the point, sir, please?
Listen, he's a good man. We have to give that quantity to him. And because these are people where we are now, we depend on. And when we listen to any radio and we listen to their voice, they are people who, when they get to the media, we look to the media to listen to. So I think you have to give me that platform.
Okay, thank you.
As to what you just ended with, I think this is, like in our neighboring country, Sierra Leone, this is how government perform. Like some of us, from kindergarten to 12th, it was the responsibility of the government, not a bluffing government who had just come to flat us. How possible you think someone who has come out of
how can you guys raise this issue during the regime of former President Joseph Salif to tell them in the faces that, look, it's a responsibility to pay the whites and white fee? If you couldn't free tuition.
The man who speaks now to you, I attended to a free and compulsory education, the government.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's take another person. Good morning. Yeah. Okay. Hello? No, your line is bad. If you can just shift a little bit, call us back. Just with a talk, we'll go ahead and take you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Abenigo Play. I'm joining the conversation from Panama community.
Please go ahead.
Let me say a very big thank you to our incoming president, Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, for his freedom deliberation on the show this morning. If Liberia actually want to move out, we have to look in the direction of Councillor Gongloe. This is the man who his entire life has been on the basis of transparency and integrity. This is the reason why sometimes we actually baffle people talk about collaboration on the basis of power sharing. We, from the angle of the Liberia Party, we don't believe that just to remove the person on the basis of hatred, that is the evil. We should be talking about issues driven, how to transform the life of the Liberian people that are being deployable by this particular government on the treasury administration.
Okay.
This is why we are going from time to time explaining the Cllr agenda to the people and our message in resolution.
Thank you so much. Thank you so kindly. Good morning.
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 Okay. Good morning to the studio again, Mr. Gongloe. My name is Joseph S. Molu, and I'm calling you from District 15, Papesi Community precisely.
Okay.
Winston, let me tell you thank you for bringing the studio judge in the studio to allow us to get his view when it comes to the presidency. I listened to him. He spoke very well, and I commend him for all what he said. But we are not going to hold back. We are not going to tie our tongue on these issues. Right now, we are on the rightful trajectory. Our country is on the path of civilization. Our country is on the path of change. And everyone in this country, outside the country, has seen it. We are not prepared now to have a complete collateral damage. No for that. So we respect, for me, I respect him. He will be a good president. But let him wait until 2029 when our time is out. Then they will come in. We will look at them.
Thank you very much. Let's take another person. Morning.
Good morning, Winston.
Yeah.
This is Jeff from Newton.
Go ahead.
The honorable man, I said the honorable man, okay, we are staff of the presidency. But we don't, it may not be no different platform or what the way is doing. We get them a rule, and scholars say, well, we cannot make things personal. We have to go according to their purpose that approve something in the country. I think I'm going to stop up. It will be for fun.
But you didn't listen to the man said liberation in ICU.
I don't understand the people. So one time I said, Mr. Congo, they could use the book. I don't want to go person. He has a very good to clean the street.
Thank you very much. Let's take another person. Good morning.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning, Wisdom Bloody. This is Emmanuel Richardson, and I joined the conversation from Upper Cowell. I listen to your studio guest, and let me just say this. The reason why some of us will continue supporting President we noticed that Tiawan Gongloe and other people feel that this country belongs to only they alone. This is why you see all of them coming right now, they criticizing. You will come here, 2023, when Tiawan Gongloe and other people were around power, job where when I even born, you were picking. All these things I'm talking about is so easy, and they're cool, all the places.
But that doesn't stop them from being president of the country.
What I'm saying to you, the problem with these people who claim that they are so educated, President, they are being unfair. You ask that man all the questions that man is saying to me. My mother in Great Gamer country that's sleeping on LEC right now. She can drink of cool water. Honorable Gongloe is telling me that this country is bad of nothing happening. It is wrong.
Thank you very much.
If you want to be president, you should be very sincere. You must commend other people that want to bless you, but because of that, we all will support you. Anything you say, we support President.
Thank you. Let's take our final caller right here. Good morning.
How are you, Wisdom?
Yeah.
How are you, Councillor Gongloe?
Hello.
I want to ask Councillor Gongloe. Anyway, my name is Matthew Escobar from Councillor Morovia. I want to ask Councillor Gongloe, what would be the difference between he and President government? Because when politicians come into power, they bring a lot of red tape, a lot of promises to the people, but when they are elected, they will deviate. So I want to know, Honorable Gongloe, what would be different from Georgia government? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We're leaving it right here like this. We promise you we have another round. We just borrowed 2-3 minutes of the news stand. The news will come on. It's already 10 o'clock. But let's get you in 2-3 minutes.
I think there was only one question. All the other people expressed their opinion. Last call. The difference between President Ware and myself would be the changing Liberia's story for the better. For example, making Liberia a rice exporter rather than rice importer, making education free from kindergarten to 12th grade and providing textbooks, copybooks, food and everything for the young people, creating free trade schools in the 15 counties so that the young people learn trade, eliminating adult illiteracy in 2 years is in my program, putting polywork yards in all of the counties so that the roads can be maintained. And as president, I will never sign anything from the legislature for lawmakers to receive free $30,000 every year to put in their pocket using the name of the people that they want to create, they want to do interventions in their community. I've gone to 13 counties and I've asked questions. For 2 years, your representatives and senators have received $30,000 each, 60,000. Even the representative right in this district, my own little brother, has received 60,000. He's going to campaign. Let the people ask him, for 2 years you have received $60,000. What have you done with the money in our community? But because it is stated that our money should not be accounted for, I, as president, would never sign something like that because it is a function of the executive branch of government to protect the people and seek their welfare. And I would not give that function to lawmakers. I want to thank everybody for listening to me, and I respect the views of those who disagree with me. Thank you very much. Okay. And I'll always come when you call me.
Yeah, thank you so kindly. We hope to have you another time, yeah. Well, folks, on that note, this is how I would like to